Welcome everybody to our first deck profile on the Finite Card channel. I'm Brad and I'm bringing you my deck focusing around Dragon and number 46 Ethereal Dragon Dragluon from Shadow Specters. And this deck, it's a fairly good deck. I like using it just because it's really fun. So it's not something you should try competitively. It's just something I found fun. And it gets to use some of these new cards. So I really enjoyed it. So let's get right to it. Our first card, we have 3 Alexandrite Dragons. This is mainly for use with Rescue Rabbit in order to easily pull out any of our rank 4s, usually Queen Dragoon Jin, because she's the one that works with the rest of the deck. But Alexandrite Dragon being a 2000 attack beater, it serves a pretty good purpose in that respect as well. Rescue Rabbit, as we said, is for use there with rank 4 summonings. Next we have Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon for fairly obvious uses, because it can summon nearly every card in the deck outside of Drain Dragon or Montage Dragon. The main use I have for this is it's really good to use with Parsec, because Parsec has to be normal summoned if you have a level 8 monster, so it's a really easy thing to use Darkness Metal to pull Source Child out of your grave, or I suppose another Parsec if you need it. And let's do a quick rank 8 summon. Next we have Soul Eating Divine Dragon, Drain Dragon. Now we talked about this in our set overview video on the dragons, and this is a very powerful card, but its drawback is it can only be special summoned by a dragon type Xyz monster, and that's it. So that gives you 3 options as of right now, 2 of which we run in this deck. The first being Dragluon, which is one of the focuses of the deck, and Queen Dragoon Jin. Now, more often than not, I use Queen Dragoon Jin just because she's a much easier summon and a lot easier to meet her requirements to summon the monster. But we'll get into that when we get to Hardened Arm Dragon, because he's kind of the core element of that play. Next we have Schwarzschild, the Limit Dragon. This is a dragon from Judgment of the Light that is very useful and one of the quickest monsters of this deck to summon, because its effect is if your opponent controls a 2000 or more attack monster, you can special summon it from your hand, which happens pretty often, and it's usually not a dead card, especially when you have cards like Hardened Arm Dragon or Trade-In. So in the event that you don't have an opponent that's using a 2000 or more attack monster, then you can easily just throw it in the graveyard and possibly resummon it with Darkness Metal Dragon or Queen Dragoon Jin. Next we have Parsec the Interstellar Dragon. This is, again, mostly used with Schwarzschild, but can also be used with, say, Radius if you need to. Next we have Montage Dragon, which I run 2 of, and this is mainly to counteract the event where, say, I were to get like a couple Parsecs in the first hand as well as Drain Dragon, and I can't summon any of them. Well, let's throw them all in the grave and summon a beastly Montage Dragon. And since the lowest level we have in this deck is level 4, you'll have at least 3600 attack if you actually summon this card. Next we have Galaxy Dragoon. Now this is an upcoming V-Jump promo, so many people may not have heard of it. Its effect is it can only attack dragon-type monsters. If this card battles a dragon-type monster, negate that monster's effects during the battle phase only. Also, it gains 1000 attack during the damage step only. So that means as soon as Galaxy Dragoon battles a dragon, it has 3000 attack and the opponent's monster can't use its effects. So normally this is kind of a drawback, because I mean, how often are you going to fight dragons with you're actually going to fight dragons? However, since I'm using Dragluon, I run DNA Surgery, because Dragluon takes advantage of opponents having dragons as well. So if I use DNA Surgery and make my opponent's monsters dragons, then I can take control of them or negate their effects. Or if I have Galaxy Dragoon, I can have it just take out monsters, because they will all be dragons. Next we have Hardened Arm Dragon. Now this is kind of one of the core monsters of this deck, because it's the easiest way to get a rank 4 summon, plus it also throws one of the level 8 monsters I likely have into the graveyard to use it. And in the event that I'm desperate, I could always tribute summon with it to summon Schwarzschild or Darkness Metal Dragon, so be destroyed. But my main play is to just have Hardened Arm Dragon and one of the other level 4 dragons I have, or I suppose even Rescue Rabbit if I really wanted to, but that'd be kind of pointless. And I would ditch preferably a Drain Dragon, but any of these level 8 monsters would work, although Montage Dragon wouldn't really work with the play. So you special summon Hardened Arm Dragon, normal summon one of the level 4 monsters, then you can special summon Queen Dragoon and immediately use her effect to pull whatever level 8 dragon you threw in the graveyard to special summon Hardened Arm Dragon. Now, this is my preferred way to get out Drain Dragon because it's the fastest and a very easy play to have set up. And this does counteract the whole can't attack your opponents directly because Queen Dragoon negates the effect. This does stop Drain Dragon's effect to gain the difference between life points, but it's likely not going to matter all that much. And finally, for the monsters, we have Radius the Half Moon Dragon. Now, this is kind of iffy choice for me, but I really like it because it can be a level 4 or a level 8, depending on whether or not your opponent has an Xyz monster out. And more often than not, I use it as a level 4, but on the rare occasion where I can use it as a level 8, it becomes very easy to summon and very easy to make a rank 8 with. Moving on to our spells, these first 6 are kind of just my choice of what I like to use as spells in a deck. I usually run a Heavy Storm, a Dark Hole, a Monster Reborn, a Book of Moon, and 1 or 2 Forbidden Lance. This time I'm running 2. That's kind of just personal preference. Those can easily be swapped out for whatever you want. Then we run 3 Trade-In because we have so many level 8 monsters, so that may just to get them out of your hand if they're dead in your hand. And you probably want Drain Dragon in the graveyard. That's the easiest way to use him, because on the off chance you can summon Dragluon, you're probably going to be doing it already. You don't want to save Drain Dragon in your hand for the rare occasion where that would actually come up. Then we have Pot of Avarice. This is, again, kind of just me, but this deck does go through monsters pretty quickly with all the summoning, and especially Montage Dragon or Hardened Arm Dragon using its special summoning effect. So recycling your monsters, you'll have 5 within a couple turns. And finally, we have Dragon Xyz, which is a great card in this deck because outside of Rescue Rabbit and Darkness Metal Dragon, it lets you basically exchange any of your dragons in your hand for any other dragon that's the same level, because they're either level 8 or level 4. So I could easily switch an Alexandrite Dragon for a Hardened Arm Dragon if I wanted to, or switch Parsec for Schwarzschild, or Parsec for Drain Dragon, or if I'm desperate, I can switch Parsec for a Montage Dragon and pull that out. So it's just a very easy way to get what you need to make the plays easier, and you have access to any monster in your deck outside of Rescue Rabbit and Darkness Metal Dragon. Now for my traps. I run Mirror Force, Breakthrough Skill, Compulsory Evacuation Device, and 2 Dark Bribes. Again, those are kind of my personal preferences, and that's kind of what I just like to run as traps, because effects are dangerous, and Compulsory Evacuation Device can get rid of whatever you need, and I really like negating my opponent's spell and traps because they're usually not fun to deal with. And then finally we have 2 DNA Surgery, which is kind of it's a very important card if you're going to actually use Galaxy Dragoon and Dragluon, because it lets their effects be very valid and quite powerful, because as soon as you have your opponent's dragons out, you can take control of it if you want. You can negate them all. Note that although Dragluon's effect to negate the effects of all dragon-type monsters your opponent controls, even though it doesn't involve getting another dragon to your side of the field, you still can't use that effect if you have more than one monster on the field. So, then let's move on to my extra deck. My first card is Neo Galaxy Xyz Photon Dragon. This is kind of just in the event where you have 3 level 8s and you just need a high-powered monster, especially if your opponent has an Xyz monster and you just want to blow them away, you can summon Neo Galaxy Xyz Photon Dragon. I've never actually needed to summon him, so it's not a big deal, but he's there just in case. We've covered most of what I would like to say about number 46. He's just the easiest way to summon out Drain Dragon and the best way to use Drain Dragon's effect. So, and if you have DNA Surgery, you could summon it and take control of your opponent's monsters or negate all their monsters' effects. If you don't have DNA Surgery out, that's kind of pointless. So, unless you happen to be facing a deck that's based off dragons, which it's not enough to put stock into. My other common summon is number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. I mainly summon him if I have another monster out, so Dragluon's effect just wouldn't work if I have another monster out, or if I'm using it along with Galaxy Dragoon or Crazy Box, because as soon as you enter your battle phase, you can negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field. So you can negate your Galaxy Dragoon's stopping effect from attacking dragons, or negate Crazy Box's effect to not be able to attack. So it lets you use your monsters a lot easier. Next we have Hieratic Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis. This is kind of... I would go for this a lot more if I wasn't going through my dragons so fast. So I rarely have tributes that I'm willing to spend for his effect. So, I mean, it's great in a pinch, but every once in a while is just about how much I summon him. These next two rank 8s are kind of just because, just in case. Felgran the Divine Dragon Knight is the Shadow Spectre's cards that we're going to get into later. His effect is you can detach a material during either player's turn to target a face-up monster, negates its effects, and is unaffected by card effects. It's great to use him on himself, but it also works if you need to attack with Crazy Box, or attack with Galaxy Dragoon, or even attack with Drain Dragon if you've already got it out. So it's just a great way to get around those effects, and if you need to, you can guard those monsters from effects. And then Giant Grinder is just to get rid of an opponent's special summon monster. It's just a fast, get it out of here, we don't want to deal with it. And if it's a Xyz monster, you get the bonus damage, which is awesome. Next, the rank 4s. Most of these, outside of Queen Dragoon Jin, are just kind of personal preference, so they can obviously be interchanged whenever you would like. Those being number 85, Crazy Box, which, as I said, I'm doing a decent amount of negating my own effects, so it's not that much of a drawback to summon Crazy Box, because I can usually allow it to attack. And if not, then I can roll the die and see what I get. Number 39, Utopia. Obvious reasons. I really like Utopia, so I use it quite often. Number 50, Black Ship of Corn. Gets rid of monsters without destroying them. Very handy. Starleash Paladynamo. Get rid of a monster. Don't worry about that monster anymore. Negate its effect, make it attack 0. And then, if and when Paladynamo is destroyed, you still get to draw a card. So, very handy. And this one is probably the most controversial of my picks, which is Sky Pegasus, number 44. I just like it because it's an either-or. Either you destroy your opponent's monster, or they pay 1,000 life points. And this might be a drawback for some, because they can pay 1,000 life points and not have their monster destroyed, and you have other rank 4 options to always destroy the monster. But I just like the ability to make them pay life points, because that's more often what they do. So basically you're using an effect to make them pay 1,000 life points, otherwise their monster gets destroyed. And then finally we have Queen Dragoon Jin, and she is kind of the cornerstone of the deck, being she can summon Drain Dragon the easiest, and she's very easily summoned with Ardent Arm Dragon or Rescue Rabbit with Alexandrite Dragon. So, and then she also makes it so other dragons you control can't be destroyed by battle. So that's a good way to protect Parsec in particular, because he's weak, because you only got 800 attack and 800 defense. But it's also nice for Radius or Hardened Arm Dragon if you want to keep them on the field a little longer. Other than that, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time, hopefully with some duels from this deck showing off how it works. See you guys later.